sure, I've been up for almost 2 weeks. Tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to the Gambia next week on a project. Then I'm back for a couple of days. Then I'll go to London for a few days. Then back to Lisbon and then home.
Yes, you travel. I mean, do you ever go home?
Well, I was thinking last year, the end of last year, last 6 months of last year, I think I was home for probably not more than 10 days. Yeah.
So, Natalia. Yeah.
Yeah. There are lots of projects, right? And they're all over the place
Yeah.
in South Africa.
Are
So,
you doing ITB Berlin?
yeah. Are you going to be at ITB as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah, exhibiting ITB. So ITB Experience Africa, you're doing again this year?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. So we'll follow suit.
Cool.
All right, I've got another minute, and then I think guys are coming. Marinda, I think how many? I think we're expecting about what 40 today? 40 people?
At least 50, Craig.
50. Sure,
Yep.
Natalia, you
All
definitely
good.
the draw.
All good.
But you always pull big audiences. So there we go.
Yeah.
Take it as a wonderful
Nice.
compliment.
I'm glad you think so. I'll pay you later.
Yeah. All right, we're on 12 o'clock. So I think we'll just give it a minute or two because people just roll in, but we'll try and keep it tight today because, like I said, everyone's got to go off at 1 o'clock, particularly Natalia. So we'll give it a minute or two and then we can start. We've got 31 participants in. So always wait for those 2 minutes for the stragglers, for connectivity issues.
All good. I had a meeting yesterday that I apologized that I was going to join late, but I did join late. I joined 15 minutes late and they still hadn't started because they were still waiting for people to join the meeting. So I was on time.
Yeah, we got to get. Yeah, I think and most of the time people have connectivity issues. But what's happening now, guys are saying try and join at least 5-10 minutes before.
Yes, yeah.
That's any troubleshooting. So one's going to read. The problem is in your diary, it's quite hard to rejig your diary when you're running hour to hour to hour.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But that's probably the way to go forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the sort of online etiquette.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll give it another minute or so. You've got a presentation, so
I do. Shall I share it in the meantime?
I think it's open. I think Marinda would have opened it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's come across.
Can you see it? Okay, cool.
Perfect. Cool. Talk about testing the platform and platform etiquette. There we go. All right, 40 people, 41, 42. Sure, now they're streaming. It's always a minute, 2 minutes past the hour when you go to the council street. Everybody streams in.
Yeah. Hang on, I don't know if I'm sharing the right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, and it's not the presenter mode. What is it?
It's not the presenter mode. It is the presenter mode.
It is the presenter mode. Why am I sharing this way? Stop share.
All right, I think we're 2 minutes past. Let's kick start and then obviously allow for some questions. Are you ready, Natalia?
Yep, I am.
All right, cool. So just, so everybody, once again, welcome to our virtual couch session. This is something we try and do every 2 weeks. And today we've got an exciting presenter and speaker, which is Natalia Rossa, CEO of Big Ambitions, and is going to chat to us about digital transformation for small businesses. Today we just got a lot of people got a very tight schedule, so we are going to cut off by 2 minutes to 1. So Natalia's got to move into another meeting. So Natalia, I think if your presentation to allow for sort of 10 minutes or any questions, if we can do that, we'll take it from there. But just some housekeeping. So the first thing just to say is, if you've got any questions, put it into the chat box. At the end, I will look at the questions raised in Natalia. If you need any clarifications on questions, we'll ask you to come online. And the reason for that is it's quite a big audience now, 48. So questions into the box. And then the second thing, if everybody could keep their microphones off so we don't have background interference, particularly when Natalia's presenting. And I think on that, just on behalf of Sigma International, we have this the SATSA incubators, ASAT incubators, and Anglo-American incubators are quite a big audience today, and this should be always exciting. Natalia always presents something very exciting and thoughtful. And Natalia, quite happy afterwards, we share the presentation, the slides with all the audience, so they can do a little bit of homework or follow up afterwards and that. So as the old saying goes, without further ado, Natalia, over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Craig. And hopefully you can all see my screen. Privileged to be chatting to you today about digital transformation for small businesses. I think at the outset, when we talk about digitalization, it's often very overwhelming for small businesses. I run a small business, so I understand this implicitly. And I want you to understand that it is a journey. It's not a destination. Digitization in any business is not something that happens overnight. You take steps to digitize certain aspects of your business, but the technology doesn't fix all the problems. You've got to fix your own kind of human stuff before, and then you overlay the technology above that. So during COVID, what happened? We had this incredible tsunami of change, super digitalization. I often tell the story about my mother who had never done any online shopping pre-COVID. Now all she does is go online to shop. She doesn't go into the shops anymore because we were forced into an environment where we were digitalized as consumers. And as a result, that has spilled over to individuals in the travel industry, businesses in the travel industry, because people are now much more adept at using digital tools than they were previously. So we saw this massive surge in online travel research. We saw this dominance of booking platforms like the Booking.com, Expedia, etc. This massive rise of mobile, this increased use of social media, and now in the last couple of years, generative AI through ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all of these generative AI tools. And really what this has created is an opportunity for tourism to build back more sustainably using digitalization, but also the data, the information that we get as a result of being a digitized business. So, as I said, everyone is referring to it as this forced digitalization. Those who were behind, so those guys who were literally just focused on transaction on a human-to-human basis without having that digital layer, had no choice but to catch up because my mother is now shopping online. She's not going into a travel agency, for example. So everything has changed. Agents have changed, channels have changed, consumers have changed. And so to convince you about the importance of going digital, what I always tell people and why it's important to go digital is because you reach a much wider audience if you go digital. You enhance the customer experience because you, in certain areas where it is required, are providing a digital touch point and understanding the balance between when to go digital and when to human, because you can't replace the human with the digital completely. It helps you from an operational efficiency perspective. And if we have some time, I'll take you through a few little generative AI tips and tricks to help you with that. But more than anything, it gives you sight on what is actually happening in your business. It tells you whether something is good, whether something is bad. And if you can ascertain when something is good, you can do more of the good and less of the bad. So really trying to understand in your business, getting the information, what is your client telling you in the digital space so that you can guide your operations and your strategy going forward and you're not flying blind. So getting started with digital transformation, and people often ask me, well, what are the technological tools I should adopt as an SME? What's the technology I should use? The tech tools that I need to adopt today. And I always say none. You don't start with digital. You start with your business's goals, what your customers care about, and then you look at what technology you can put in place that helps you to deliver on what it is that your customers need and what you have to offer. You don't start with the tech. You start with your business. And you don't start with all of the different tools. So if we're talking about generative AI, we don't start subscribing to all of the different tools because it's overwhelming. We start small and we scale up as we go. We use free and low-cost solutions. So there's no point in you getting a Salesforce license for your CRM if you've got wanting to do customer relationship management. Use an Excel spreadsheet. It's perfectly adequate. We also know that people are getting most of their information on their phones. So whatever you do, must be mobile friendly. If you are sending a newsletter out, it must be mobile friendly. If you are posting something on your social media channels, you need to make sure that what you're posting is mobile friendly. So not lots and lots of text because people will not read it. And then lastly, you need to invest in high quality content. Because if you are not producing something that is high quality, let's say that your photos that you are using are stretched or they're pixelated, they're fuzzy because they're low resolution, or there's spelling mistakes in your text, you are telling someone about your brand. You are telling them that you couldn't be bothered to ensure that what you are providing them is high quality. So the experience that they're going to get from you, from your business, is not going to be high quality. So I'm going to take you through some of the key digital tools that I use for the various different use cases, and you will have access to this, so don't feel like you have to scribble a whole bunch of notes. I'm going to take you through content creation, social media, website creation, operations, productivity and project management, communications, customer relationship management, and security and data backup. So all of these different use cases are use cases that you would have in your business as a small business. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the different tools that I know and have used that are useful in that space. So if you are creating content, when I talk about content, that could be a banner for your social media, or it could be an invitation that you're sending to someone as a PDF, or it could be a little text that you designed with an image that you're putting on WhatsApp. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about content creation. And graphic design, there is no better tool to use than Canva. So if I can just ask you if you are unmuted, and I'm going to ask Marinda to just mute, yeah, as we go along, because I'm afraid I have a one-track mind and I cannot focus when I have lots of noise around me, is Canva. So Canva has a free and a paid for version, but Canva has lots of amazing templates that you can use to create everything from a reel for Instagram to an invitation to a brochure, whole bunch of templates, and it's very, very easy to use, and there is a free version. So if you're not using Canva, I would definitely say that that's something that you should use. To create video, there are a whole bunch of generative AI tools that have come up. Again, for me, based on where you're at, I would use Canva still, because Canva allows you to create small videos, short videos. But if you want to create longer videos, there are tools like InVideo.ai. There's also one called HeyGen. There is a free version of these, but also paid for version. They're a little bit more complicated. So I would again steer you more towards using Canva if you are wanting to create video. To create text, to write text, the platforms that I would suggest you use are ChatGPT, which hopefully you are all familiar with. Remember, there is a paid for and a non-paid for version. For what you need, the non-paid for version is absolutely adequate. So ChatGPT. There is also Gemini. So Gemini is Google-based, and it also helps you to create text. And then lastly, my favorite tool to create text is Claude. It's a beautiful tool, Claude.ai, to write. It's really, really great. And there's a paid for and a free version. Again, on all three of these free versions, you would be able to use without any issues. Images, always difficult to find images, and images can be very expensive. There are a bunch of open source image libraries that you can use without paying for them. They're called Unsplash, Pixabay, and Pexels. Then there are generative AI tools that can help you create images from scratch. These are called Lexica, Midjourney, which is a bit complicated to use, and there is a new kid on the block called Flux, F-L-U-X, Flux. Flux has a free version and a paid for version, and it can create really nice images for you. So again, if I'm going to be talking from an SME perspective, I would use the libraries for Unsplash, Pixabay, and Pexels, and then probably Flux if I wanted to create something from scratch. To come up with some ideas on what you're going to create from a content perspective, again, think about what your customer needs. So what information is going to be critical for your customer to know? And then you use tools like Answer the Public and ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity asking them questions on what it is that you can create for your audience. Sorry, if I can just ask, okay, thank you, Mirinda, for Ellis Park. If you can just keep yourself on mute. I don't know who Ellis Park is,
Ellis,
but
please. Thank you.
thank
Thanks,
you. That would be
Natalia.
great. Okay. And then mail software. So if you're sending out mailers, Stripo and MailChimp are the two that I would suggest. MailChimp is slightly more expensive, but it comes with nice templates. Stripo is cheaper if you are wanting to send out mailers. Right. Then on social media, again, a whole bunch of different tools. I don't have time today to go through social media calendars and how to create a social media calendar, but I do have a few video tutorials on that, which I'm happy to share. But generally speaking, most SMEs just post directly to their social media platform, and there's nothing wrong with that because you won't have like a big company where you're posting a lot on social media. But if you are wanting to post a lot on social media, there are scheduling tools that you can use like Hootsuite, SocialBee, Sendable, and Buffer. Again, all of them have free and paid for versions where you can prepare your content up front, upload that content, and then schedule that content to send so that you don't physically have to be doing it at a certain time on a certain platform. There are also tools like Social Mention, which tell you what people are talking about in the social media space. Again, if you know your audience really well, you will not need to use a tool like Social Mention. If you are a smaller company and you just want to keep track of the content that you're posting on social media, Airtable is like an online spreadsheet on steroids. It helps you organize things beautifully as an Excel spreadsheet, but you can do filtering and you can batch things together, and there's a free version and a paid for version. So Airtable is a really great tool to replace Excel as a library, if you will, and just play around with it a little bit. You'll find it's great. Meta, which owns Instagram and Facebook, has its own business platform where, again, you can post, schedule posts, look at the analytics to see how your posts are performing. So Meta Business is a great platform when you are using Instagram and Facebook. Canva, again, great for social media templates. So creating posts, reels, stories, whatever you want. It's a really, really powerful tool. And then generative AI, so ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, all of those generative AI tools, which I'll try and take you through in a little bit of depth a bit later on. And then lastly, your images, Unsplash, Pixabay, Pixels, and Lexica, where you can get your images from. To create websites, I would really strongly suggest that you do not try and create your own website. It's better for you to invest, if you can, in someone who can develop a website for you, because that is your digital home. That is where you are going to be bringing people back when you are telling them about what it is that you do from an experience perspective. All of your social media, your newsletter, anything that you do must always try and bring people back to your digital home, to your website. So you want to make sure that your house is clean, it's tidy, it's good quality, and that's why I would always say try and get somebody to help you create your website. But let's say that you're not and you're going to be doing it yourself. There are tools called Wix, Squarespace, Weebly that help you build your own website. WordPress also has templates that you can use to build your website. But again, you need to have some level of technical know-how. So I'm saying these are the tools to use, but it's better to use somebody who can help you create your website for you. In terms of populating the website, because a house is not a house without paintings and furniture and lots of nice little decorations, there are different tools that you can use for different things. Again, from a text perspective, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grammarly, these are all tools that can help you create text. Images, I've mentioned the images where you can source image or image libraries where you can source images. Graphic design, if you're wanting to create banners, again, Canva is amazing. Video, I've already spoken about. Very importantly, your website, for people to find your digital home, your search engine optimization. So how you are training Google to find your website when someone puts a search query in is important. And your SEO needs to be done through something called a plugin. So you would have a Yoast SEO plugin, for example, if you are working in WordPress. But again, guys, SEO is very complicated. And this is not something you should probably be doing yourself. You should be working with someone to help you. Thank you, Miranda, for just muting people. Please, guys, if you can keep yourself on mute, that would be great. And then lastly, understanding how your website is performing. So we've got the house, we're inviting people to our party, but do we know where in our house they're going? Do we know how long they stay in our house? Do we know where they leave, which room they leave from? Google Analytics is great to tell you how your website is performing, where people are accessing it from, how long they're staying on it, etc., so that you can decide what you need to do to make sure that you are creating a house that is as amenable as possible for everyone. I will talk about Gemini, Claude, and all of those AI tools in a little bit of in a little while, Gladys. Gemini is not for advertising. Gemini is a generative AI tool, but I will take you through the Gen AI tools in a bit. Okay, I'm a productivity geek. I love trying to be as productive as possible. And so some of the tools that I use from a project management perspective, and again, all of these tools that I'm giving you guys are tools specifically for SMEs. Because they have a free version and a paid for version. So you can go into those from a free version perspective and really leverage them. Project management is just keeping track of where you're at with different tasks. I use something called Basic Ops, which we pay for because we're a larger organization, but you can use Asana, you can use Trello, all of those have a non-paid for version, and they're basically task managers. If you've got Outlook, you probably also have a task manager in Outlook that you can use, just again to keep track of things. If you don't want to use paper, I still use paper as well, but project management tools are great reminders. There is another one called Todoist, but that is a paid for one, so I haven't put it on this particular presentation. For communications, to communicate with your team, to communicate with your client, Slack is a great tool. Zoom, we're on it at the moment. WhatsApp, if I'm added to another WhatsApp group, I may cry. Gmail, all of these comms tools, use them for different requirements. For file management, now this is quite bizarre because I thought everybody knew how Google Drive worked, but I actually did a seminar in Zimbabwe recently on keeping your files, keeping your documents in an organized way. Because if you think about the amount of time that you waste time looking for information in your inbox because you've sent an email to someone 6 months ago and you want to reuse that attachment that you put in, Don't do that to yourself. Rather try and be organized with your file management. Set up the Google Drive with folders in for different aspects of your business. And then within those folders, have subpole folders and make sure that things are nicely organized in those folders. Google Drive gives you oodles of space that you can save things so you can find things easily. It's just easier for you to search for things and find things than in your Outlook. So if you are spending time trying to find files in your Outlook, it's a waste of time. You're an SME, time is money. Time tracking, if you need to track time, you probably will not in the field that you are, but Toggle and Harvest are two good time tracking tools that are free. Accounting and invoicing, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Airtable, as I've mentioned earlier, which is that online spreadsheet on steroids. Google Forms, another free tool for you. Yeah, there's so much free, guys. It's just about understanding what it is that you need to do and then understanding what technology tool can help you, not replace you, but help you do it. Payments, PayFast. I'm sure many of you are already very familiar with it. And from a customer relationship management perspective, again, you can use an Airtable if you want to keep track. Emailed this client on this day, need to follow up, blah, blah, blah. And Asana or Trello you can also use, but there are customer relationship management tools like HubSpot and Zoho. HubSpot and Zoho are paid for, however, but there is a cheaper version that you can use going forward. Very importantly, and we tend to forget this as SMEs, guys, security and data backup. We think we're small, so they're not going to target us. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is certainly not the case. And South Africa is one of, I can't remember what it was, but we were definitely in the top 5 countries in the world when it came to phishing and being targeted for any type of kind of digital espionage. So please, 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 please make sure that you are backing up your information and saving it into a place like Google Drive, so that if somebody does hack your email and you are held to ransom, not all of your attachments and everything will be sitting in Outlook, because you will have done the due diligence and backed up your information by putting it into a Google Drive or similar. Or if you need to have it in 2 different places so that there's redundancy, just so that you can make sure that you don't lose everything. Passwords. If your password is ABCDE1234 and you're using that same password for every single thing, do not be surprised if you get hacked. There are password managers that you can use, LastPass, 1Password, Dashlane. Again, some of them have a certain number of passwords that they save for free, and then you've got a paid for version. But please do not use the same password on every single thing. And please use a password that is a strong password, passwords, plural, because if you don't, you are literally opening yourself to an attack. Virtual private network. So if, like me, you travel a lot or you don't have internet at home, which works very well, like I don't, and you go to a coffee shop or wherever to connect to Wi-Fi, always make sure that you've connected through a virtual private network. And there are a whole bunch of virtual private networks that are available: NordVPN, ExpressVPN, CyberGhost. There's a ton. You can just Google it. Antivirus and malware software, also non-negotiable, guys. Norton, McAfee, Avast, there are tons of different antivirus softwares that you can load onto your machine to make sure that you're keeping your machine clean and others clean. Multi-factor authentication, I'm seeing there's a lot more, not just from a banking perspective, but other websites where you need to log in. You can download an authentication app onto your phone, a Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, so that when you go into a website and they ask you for an authenticator, you've got it on your phone and it's set up and you can log into that website very quickly. And then lastly, cloud storage for backups. As I've said, to back up all your information, Google Drive and Dropbox, just remember to make it nicely organized. Google Drive is free for a lot of content. I mean, I've got a ton of content on there and I still haven't gone over mine. But if you do go over, just set up another Gmail, a second Gmail, and then you have a whole other Google Drive that you've got access to. And Dropbox does have a limit. I'm not a fan of Dropbox, to be very honest. I prefer Google Drive because most people have access to Google Drive and it's easier for them to deal with. Okay, we've come to the fun part of the conversation. Not sure how much time I have. Oh, I'm still okay. The future is digital, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why the future is digital, because we're going to go into a little bit of a deep dive around AI, generative AI. So, yes, the robots are coming. They have arrived. There's no point in you hiding underneath your bed, eating Kit Kats and hoping that it's going to go away, because it's only going to get smarter. It's only going to get faster. And in the last week, we've had DeepSeek from China literally pipping ChatGPT off their pedestal. And the more we have those tools competing, the more it's going to advance. So the robots are coming, but it's up to us as humans to decide what the robots are going to do and what we're going to do. And I want to just pause here quickly to explain to you what the difference is between AI in general and generative AI. When we talk about AI in general, you guys have been using AI for many, 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 many years without even knowing you've been using AI. Anyone who's bought anything on Amazon, anyone who's looked at booking.com, anyone who has Siri on their phone or an Alexa in their house has been using AI, artificial intelligence. And there are a whole bunch of online tools that you are using, even airline websites that have AI in the back end baked into them that are controlling how things are presented to us as human beings. What happened 2 years ago was there was this little horse called ChatGPT that bolted, and it democratized AI for all of the rest of us because it created a platform, a dashboard that made it easy for us to use artificial intelligence. So we in the past were using it as consumers because large companies with large budgets were using AI to power their technology. Now, with the democratization of AI through generative AI, which creates texts, images, videos, we now all have access in an easy way, easy platform through a ChatGPT or a Gemini to use artificial intelligence, or correctly said, generative artificial intelligence. So generative artificial intelligence creates texts, it creates images, it creates patterns. It is a creator. It is what we can use to augment our intelligence, to make us better, not to replace us, to free us up from the mundane things and unleash us to do great things. So instead of Natalia spending 3 hours putting a beautiful PowerPoint together, it is better for Natalia to spend 3 hours doing the coaching and the training, and better for Natalia to use the generative AI to create the images, to create the text with the oversight of Natalia. So it's about understanding what your highest value work is. And as I said, AI is getting smarter and smarter and smarter. So Mid-Journey was one of the image tools that I told you about a little bit earlier. In February 2022, when Mid-Journey first came out, and we had asked it to create a high-quality photograph of a young Japanese woman smiling, backlighting, natural pale light, filmed by camera, what we got was not a very good photograph. Fast forward to April 2022, she's looking a little more human. In July 2022, she's looking a lot more human. In November 2022, she's looking human. In March 2023, you wouldn't know that it was an AI-generated photo. In December 2023, perfection. It's getting smarter and smarter. But step aside Mid-Journey, because this image that you can see over here is an image that is generated by Flux. Flux was one of the tools that I mentioned a little bit earlier from an image creation perspective. Of course, as with anything with generative AI, and I'll take you through in a little bit of detail, the only reason why this photograph looks as realistic as it does is because the instruction that I gave Flux was very clear and very descriptive. Because if you think about it from your own perspective, when you left school and you went into the workplace and someone asked you to do something, but you had no context at all on how to do it, and you were just expected to do it without knowing how, what you created was not good. Probably not good. Maybe it was. Maybe you're amazing. But for most of us humans, not. We need the context. We need the how, especially the first time that we're doing something. And this is the case with generative AI. The more information, the more context you give it, the more specific and closer to the result you want you're going to get. Think about it as the smartest little intern you have ever hired in your entire life, who knows everything there is to know about the world, but is completely useless when it comes to unlocking that knowledge and takes everything literally, everything. So here we have an example again. On the left, we have a real photo. On the right, we have a photo that's generated by Flux. I don't know about you, but I can't tell the difference. In fact, the only difference to me is that the AI one looks better than the real photo does. Just saying. But remember, I said it takes everything literally, everything. So when I asked Flux to create a photograph of an ostrich's head in the sand, because you know, when we talk about an ostrich head in the sand, figuratively, we're talking about, let's not deal with AI because it's too scary, so I'm going to stick my head in the sand. It doesn't know that. And so what it did was it gave me an ostrich's head in the sand. Not really what I was looking for, right? So again, you need to be very descriptive because it takes everything literally. I'm going to show you an example, just a little bit of the video that was created by invideo.ai, which was one of the tools I mentioned a little bit earlier. So with this video, in the past, it would have taken one of my graphic designers hours to put this together. Instead, all I did was I created an instruction or a prompt, and InVideo wrote the script, decided what images and videos to use, did the voiceover, and chose the sound. Is it going to win any Oscars? No, it is definitely not going to. But was it quick? And can I edit this video with my own photos, with my own text? 100% and a lot.
Imagine a world where the boundless beauty of Africa meets the transformative power of artificial intelligence, where every journey is not just a path discovered, but a dream crafted with precision and personal touch. Welcome to the future of tourism, inspired by AI. Artificial intelligence has the ability to revolutionize the tourism industry, not just streamlining operations, but also enhancing every aspect of the travel experience, from ideation to the return journey home. As AI expert Stuart Russell said, AI is a powerful tool to augment human intelligence, freeing us up from the mundane and unleashing our potential to do great things. Generative AI tools are the new frontier, assisting in ideation, research, content generation, data analysis, transcription, translation, and boosting productivity. Imagine AI crafting personalized travel experiences by understanding each guest's unique preferences or freeing you up from those mundane tasks to offer real-time assistance in multiple languages. This is not the future. It's here, transforming how we explore and experience Africa's wonders. With the help of AI, tourism consultants and product managers can spend less time on administrative work and more time crafting rich guest experiences. AI chatbots handle simple customer inquiries so that staff have more bandwidth for high-touch services. Generative AI produces reams of personalized marketing content with just a few prompts, bringing stories of Africa's wonders to global audiences.
Hey, you get the idea, right? Again, zero intervention of Natalia. And I could, if I wanted to now, go into this video and tweak in the InVideo app itself. And as I said, not going to win any Oscars, but you'll see it's pretty powerful. And it did all of that without me having to do anything other than instruct it in one prompt. Okay, now what has happened with ChatGPT is that they have launched something called Sora. Now, Sora is only available in ChatGPT if you have a premium version of ChatGPT, so a paid-for version of ChatGPT. But I want to just show you how detailed this AI video is. Totally generated by AI, not any human interface. Look how detailed her face is here. It's exceptional what it can do. Now, am I suggesting that you replace all of your video, if you've been taking video on your phone, which I'm hoping you are, of your experiences, that you replace all of that with AI-generated stuff? No, because we want authentic, and particularly when we're talking about social media, the more raw that footage is, the better it is for a reel. But what I am saying is that if you wanted to do a very short, more kind of technical reel of behind the scenes, or you were looking for video footage on a specific thing, but you couldn't find it. Maybe it was just an African elephant close up and you couldn't find it. There is no reason why you would not be able to use generative AI to help you with this. But as I've stressed, it's never going to replace you, particularly because you work in the travel and tourism industry, and it is a human industry. We want to know, or we need to know rather, as businesses, tourism businesses, when to AI and when to human, because there are times when I don't need a human to sit and talk me through how to check in something, or how to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example in the room, and maybe you guys can think of examples. There are times when I want to speak to a human, when something's gone wrong generally, is when I want to speak to a human. When I need some level of trust or confidence, I want to speak to a human. I don't want to hop on to a chatbot and ask the chatbot if it's okay for me to use my passport that's going to expire in 3 months because I've heard there's a 6-month validity. I want to speak to a human, okay? But if it's just something that's mundane and routine, there's absolutely no reason why you should not be using generative AI. So I want to stress that there is a time and place for everything, but you always need to start with the human. Team human leads, and then you need to decide with AI as a tool when to use AI and when to human. When is human important and when is AI important, or when is a technology tool? And only you can decide that. Only you in the room can say, these are the things that I need to do. These are the things that my customers care about. This is when I need to human, and this is when I need to AI. So you've got to identify what remains uniquely human, and you've got to spend time and hone that. Earlier, when I was talking about hiding underneath the bed because AI is coming, the robots are coming, tongue in cheek, a lot of people are thinking, oh, I really need to be good at using generative AI. You need to think about generative AI as like a Microsoft or an Excel. You need to be good at it, but what you need to be great at is the stuff that generative AI cannot replace. The curiosity, the empathy, the emotions, the adaptability, the consciousness, the experience, the ethics, the imagination, the instinct. These are things that you need to be excellent at because generative AI will never replace that. Don't try and be excellent at generative AI. Be excellent at this and be good at using generative AI. Is it cheating to use generative AI? I get this question a lot. Is it cheating to not use a spoon, but to use a food processor? Is it cheating to no longer use an open fire, but to use a microwave? Is it cheating to, instead of using an abacus, using a spreadsheet? Yes, I'm that old. I did use an abacus when I was in grade 1. Is it cheating to go from using a pencil to using AI? No, it is not cheating. It is a tool. It is not here to replace you. Use it as your little thought partner. So here is a little trick to teach you how to instruct the generative AI tools, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, to get something good out. And it is a little recipe that I'm going to teach you because remember, we're talking about the intern that knows everything there is about the world, but is very literal. And we don't want you to get an ostrich head in the sand. So my recipe is the following. And most of you are probably only focusing on the what at the moment. So you are only telling it, create a profile of travel preferences, which doesn't help because again, the intern needs context. So the very first thing you do with all of these generative AI tools, whether you're using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, any of them, is you assign it a role. You tell it who it is. It has to know who it is because it has to get into character so that it can read the rest of the prompt in that character and so that the output that it gives you is based on the character. So you are a travel advisor, you are a copywriter, you are a lawyer, you are an accountant, you are a data analyst, whatever role you need to assign it to allow it to do the what that you're looking for. So the next step is, what do we want it to do? In this case, create a profile of travel preferences. So that's the what. Who am I? What do I want you to do? And the last is the how, the detailed steps. Give it context, upload the PDF, take the email correspondence that you're referring to and chuck it into ChatGPT. Tell it if you want it in bullet points, or if you want it in free flow text, if you want it in British English, or if you want it in Shona. We've done it all, right? Tell it the how, because the more detail you give it, the better. A little tip for you guys. If you have it on your phone, ChatGPT in particular, or even on your computer, talk to it instead of typing. Because when you talk to it, you humanize it and you automatically start giving it the context that it needs to do the job instead of text. I don't know what it is about text versus verbal, but if you instruct it verbally, somehow us as humans are better instructors than if we type it because we're just waffling. We just talk, blah, 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 blah. And it then sifts through the blah, 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 blah to get to what you want. If you're typing, you're trying to type the perfect prompt and then you miss things. So try using it verbally and try using a text and see what you get out in terms of the difference. So here is an example of a prompt. You are a travel advisor planning a special celebration for a couple celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary. So you are a travel advisor is the who. And we're going into the what. Could you provide me with several destination suggestions as well as suitable associated experiences based on their traveler profile? Sorry, it's cut off there. And then you can see in the middle here is the kitchen sink of context. I've given it a whole bunch of information so that the output that I get is a strong, specific output based on the scenario that I want. If I had just said, please give me some destination suggestions, as well as suitable associated experiences, I would have gotten generic out because it didn't have the context. But if you are paralyzed and you still can't get what you want, AI can write a better prompt than you can. So again, pick up your phone, click the audio little microphone button, say, I need you to write me a prompt. This is what I want to achieve. This is the background information. Please write me a prompt that you can use to get me the information I need. It will create the prompt for you. It will get to the stage where it knows how to do that without you even having to prompt it. I also find that a little bit of emotional prompting does not go amiss. So yes, I do bully my ChatGPT. I'm also very polite to it. Again, because I humanize it. So I say, please and thank you. But if it says, no, I can't help you, I say, try again. Or if it gives me something that I don't like, I say, I know you can do a better job, try again. Or your competitor can do it, why can't you do it? To which it always responds and says, yes, no problem, I'll help you. So a little bit of bullying goes a long way. And you can use generative AI in your day-to-day for things like coming up with ideas, just brainstorming ideas, researching things. So I, for example, don't research on Google anymore. I research in Perplexity, because instead of getting thousands of responses that I have to click on and look at, Perplexity just summarizes everything for me, and I can go into Perplexity and pick one or two things which are useful to me. It's great for business strategy. So you can ask generative AI to be your co-CEO and to be your coach, and you can talk to it and say, this is what I'm thinking of doing. What are your thoughts? Ask me questions that I need to answer that will help guide me to a certain result. You can use it in your operations. You can use it for translation. I use it a lot for translation. We've tried it in loads of different languages. It's great. You can use it for transcription. So if you've recorded something, you can upload it into a ChatGPT and it will transcribe it for you. It will enhance your productivity. It can create content. It can analyze data. So if you've got a whole bunch of information that you want analyzed, it can do that. And it can also do design. It can create images for you. It can create graphics for you as well, all at different phases of prominence. Almost there, guys. Okay, I'm going to just flick to the last slide so I can take questions. Right. Importantly, the copyright belongs to the generative AI owner unless you have been instrumental in the creation of that content. So the owner of ChatGPT is OpenAI. The owner of Claude is Anthropic. The owner of Gemini is Google. All these tools have a company that owns them. If you have copied and pasted something off a ChatGPT or a Gemini and you have not edited it, you've not been instrumental in creating that content at all, the copyright belongs to that generative AI. So one of two things is important here. Number one, does it matter that you've used ChatGPT to help you write an email and the copyright belongs to the AI? I would say no, it does not. Does it matter that the FAQ that you've put together or the standard operating procedure manual that you needed to put together was generated by AI? Probably not. Does it matter if you are writing a book and you've asked AI to write the book for you? Probably yes. So understand the use cases and don't get too attached with copyright unless it's important in that use case that the copyright belongs to you. The second point I want to make on this is that this is a very open area at the moment. We do not know where this is going because generative AI is very new and it will all be tested in court of law. But understand that if you are going to be copying and pasting something from the internet, or at least from generative AI, and generative AI has been trained using information on the internet, there could be proprietary copyright to that information. So you can't claim that it is your information. And probably not in your space, but in my space, if I were to create a marketing strategy and start citing paid, earned, shared, and owned peso model, that peso model is copyrighted. So if I just copied and pasted that, I would get into trouble. So be aware of that. In terms of privacy and sensitive information, if you have a paid version of these tools, the models are not using your information to be trained on. If it is free, they can. They may not, but they can. You need to read the privacy policies of these models. I bet you none of you have read Meta's privacy policies and are posting a whole bunch of wonderful things on social media that you shouldn't be. But understand what the privacy policies are of these models and the sensitivity. General rule of thumb is if you are not happy for it to be put on a billboard, then don't put it into generative AI. So I'm not going to put people's email addresses and contact telephone numbers into generative AI. But general stuff that cannot be linked to another person, I'm very happy to put into generative AI. It's not going to copy the large swathes of text that you've put in and train on it. Remember, the way that it works is in patterns. It predicts the next word, the likelihood of the next words. And so even from a copyright perspective, or at least plagiarism perspective, it does not plagiarize in the sense of the word plagiarize. It does not copy large portions of text from what you've put in or what exists on the internet. It predicts what the next word is, the likelihood of the next word. It connects the dots. The last thing I will say is that it makes things up. It hallucinates because it's trying to please you. So it will often go and give you a whole bunch of stats and and I'll look at this and think, I don't think that's right. And I'll say, have you fabricated any information that you have just given me? And it'll very happily say, yes, I have, blah, 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 because it's trying to please you. Or I will take what it's produced, I will put it into another generative AI tool, and I will say, is any of this fabricated? So I use the tools against each other to check their work sometimes, and also to give me different options. So I'm going to end it there. And I see there are some questions in the chat. Any mobile app creating referrals? I'm probably going to need to get a little bit more context from you, Siobhan. So let's just put a pin in that one for a second. Lebogang, greetings. Hope is all. Can you provide more information pertaining to Sora? So Sora is the video producer that ChatGPT has created. So if you have a paid for version of ChatGPT and you opened your ChatGPT, you will see at the top there will be a little button that you can click down and you can choose your various different types of ChatGPT versions. And in the search bar at the bottom and the instruction bar, you will see that there's a little map, which allows you to search on the internet. There's a little present box. If you click on that, you will have DALL-E, which is their image generator. You should have Sora. And then there's a little paperclip, which is where you can upload attachments. So you can only access Sora using ChatGPT, or you can Google Sora and you can log in using your ChatGPT logins because it is connected to ChatGPT. Meaning AI is not 100% correct because it is predicting. It is, nothing is 100%. And I would often, when people say, oh, but AI did this and AI did that and AI is wrong. Actually, someone asked me today, can I write an article about why AI is dangerous for travel agents? And I was like, this is amusing. Why are humans dangerous for travel agents? Because let's face it, humans aren't squeaky clean and correct all the time as well. So let's just think about that. It's not 100% correct, and neither are humans, to be very honest. So you, as the human, get to decide what to use and what not to use. I use generative AI constantly in my job. It's probably freed up 30 to 50% of what I do so that I can spend more time with people like you doing training on stuff like this. But is it 100% correct? No, because it predicts. As a human would predict, it's much better at connecting the dots than humans are. Case in point. So if you're stuck and you need a little bit of help with ideas, it's incredible as a little thought partner. Yes, Stefana, you can get the presentation, no problem. Siobhan, are there any websites or AI tools that can create a mobile app according to your needs, or maybe a company that you know of? Let me come back to you. I guess to take you right back to when I started, why do you need a mobile app? Okay, so mobile apps are sexy. Okay, that's great. Why do you need a mobile app? And maybe what you should do is use ChatGPT to brainstorm with you why you need a mobile app. So, hi ChatGPT, hope you're having a great day today. I think I need to create a mobile app. This is the use case that I want to use it for. This is the outcome that I want. Please ask me some questions that I need to answer that will help me get to the point where A, I know that I need an app, and B, what should be in that app? Because even if you then develop the app and decide to develop the app, if your scope is not tight, you're going to go down a rabbit hole, and apps are very, very expensive. It could be that it's easier for you to develop a website that is responsive, so mobile friendly, which is much cheaper than a mobile app and will not get as lost as as mobile apps often are. I've got hundreds of mobile apps which I download and then I never use them. So before you decide to do an app, ask yourself, do I really need an app? Let ChatGPT help you. And if you do decide you need an app, get ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude to help you create the scope for your app. And I will then look into whether there is a tool that can create a mobile app for you, but I don't think so. I think you're going to need a developer, unfortunately. But I'm almost convinced you won't need an app. A responsive website is probably going to be fine. Can AI create different work for different people on the same topic? Yes. So if I go into generative AI and say, can you please write, I don't know, this social media post for people who love birds, and it's about, I don't know, a destination in Mpumalanga. I can then, once it's done that, I can say, that's great. Please rewrite this now for someone who loves adventure. And then please rewrite this for someone who loves whatever. So you can, again, it's a conversation. You can get it to change however you want. You can get it to change whatever you need. Let's see if there are any other questions. Yes, I think, Siobhan, you'd find it very valuable if you used the generative AI as a thought partner to challenge your assumptions. If you are assuming that something is necessary in your business, like I assume in my business that my clients want X, they might not want that. So using it as a thought partner to converse with you to get to a point where you can make a decision, that will help. Now, I did have a question around Gemini. And Gemini, shall I actually just show Craig, do I have 2 minutes to show people what the differences are so that they can just see it?
You've got 5 minutes, so you've got to dial off at once, but 5 minutes ago.
All right. Okay. Right. So I'm just going into Google there and I'm going to open ChatGPT. I'm going to open Claude. I'm going to open Gemini, and I'm going to open Perplexity. All right. Okay. So all of these are generative AI tools. There's a new one now, as I said earlier, called DeepSeek. Okay. And here is ChatGPT. You're probably all familiar with ChatGPT. You can see there's a little voice button there. So using voice mode instead of text mode, if you're wanting to type stuff, there's the little attachment button. There's the search the web button. And you can see if I click there, there are a whole bunch of different models that I can use. For your purposes, 4.0 is absolutely fine, or the free version. 0.1 is very advanced. It's like PhD level stuff. So you probably don't need to know any of that. And it also has launched something called Tasks, which you can see in the top right there, again on the paid version, and GPTs. So GPTs, I will do a whole tutorial around GPTs. Don't worry about it now, it's complex. But the tasks, they're busy trialing now as to almost like a little AI agent, which you can automate specific tasks and it will do the tasks for you. Like, remind me at 9 o'clock every day to take my medication. Okay, it can do that. All right. Claude is the one that I said is great for writing content. Again, there are different versions of Claude. I like Claude because of its style of writing. I find it is the most versatile, and it's got a free version and a paid for version. The only difference between the free version and the paid for version is the amount that you can use it. So if you're using it the whole day, it will eventually say to you, I'm sorry, we've run out of space. You have to wait until 5 o'clock until you can use me again. And then Gemini, same story as ChatGPT, different versions. This is the free version, 1.5 Flash and 2. And again, you've got your little attachment bar there. You've got your little voice bar, exactly what you do in ChatGPT. Using the recipe that I gave you, who, what, and how, you can ask Gemini to do stuff for you. And then Perplexity is amazing at finding information on the internet. So instead of Googling, I don't know, tell me about DeepSeek. Now, if I'd gone to Google, and I could say here, if I go to Google, I get a whole whack of results that I now need to go and read through to find all of this information. Time is money. I don't have the time. So instead, I go to my friend Perplexity, who sources everything off the internet for me, tells me where it sourced it, has given me a succinct answer with where it's found that answer and a summary of everything. So from a research perspective, you cannot beat Perplexity. It is the best. From a content writing perspective, Claude and ChatGPT are the best. Claude is the best, and then ChatGPT. From a search perspective, ChatGPT and Gemini. So each one, again, you've got to channel your inner 5-year-old, play around a little bit, and yeah, if you channel your inner 5-year-old and play, I promise you, you'll learn very quickly. Can AI create different work for different people on the same topic we've spoken about? Is there a difference between AI and generative AI? Yes. So AI is the technology that sits in the back end. Like if you're using Alexa, the technology that drives Alexa, the technology that drives Siri, the technology that drives the Expedia and the Booking.com or the Amazon. You bought this, so you are likely to buy X, Y, and Z. That's the tech. Generative AI is the tools I've just shown you that helps you as a person to create something yourself. Text, data, pictures, the rest of it. That's the difference. Lungani, this program was recorded, and I'm pretty sure that Craig and team will share it. Yes, I think that's it.
1 minute. Yeah, and then we're on the hour.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure, Sam.
I'm in project management. You mentioned like Asana and what are those like where I can do time frame? Because like when I'm doing a project, I would like time frames to be put in, and then deadlines be met based on those time frames.
Exactly what they do, yeah. So you can put a task in and you can put a deadline, and it can create calendars for you. It can create Gantt charts for you. It can create project overviews for you. My favorite one is Asana. That's the one that I would use if I were you guys.
Okay, thank you. The second question, sorry.
Sure.
On was my field. I have to buy a lot of stuff and look for amount, what this costs and what does that cost and where can I get it? Does Perplexity also do that? Or
Yeah,
I have to stick on Google on this one?
No, if it's on the internet, Perplexity can do it for you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam. Natalia, it's actually on the hour, and I know you've got to move into the next session.
Sorry,
So
I do. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we're going to share the presentation and the recordings of everyone, but just really, I mean, every time we come on, well, two things. Every time we come on here, there's always seems to be more platforms, but we always learn so much from you. But just from everybody, thank you very much for spending this hour with us. Always great learning stuff and taking from there. So, and everybody will, like I said, will share the presentation and the recording. But Natalia, just a big thank you, big thank you.
My pleasure, guys. And I've put my email in the chat if you need to ask any questions. No worries. Thanks, guys.
Perfect.
Good one.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.